Welcome back to Learn English Anyways. Adam, do you ever feel like you can understand pretty much any English book or movie, but the second you try to speak, your mind just goes blank? That's me. I'm Jessica, an intermediate English learner, and that's been my biggest frustration. I can get lost for hours in an English novel, totally getting every word and every plot twist. But when a friendly coworker asks me a simple question like, "Hey, what did you do this weekend?" I freeze. All the words I know so well are suddenly trapped. I hesitate, stumble, and just feel stuck.
And that's all about to change, Jessica. I'm Adam, a language coach, and that feeling you described is incredibly common. But there's a surprisingly simple technique that's going to completely transform your fluency. In this session, we're going to show you the podcast shadowing technique that took Jessica from being a hesitant reader to a confident, fluent speaker.
And we'll break down exactly how you can use it to finally bridge the gap between the English, you know, and the English you want to speak.
So, Jessica, let's talk about what's really going on here. Why can you read a complex novel but can't string together a simple sentence in a conversation? I call this problem the passive prison. So many learners, just like you, spend hundreds of hours on passive activities.
That's definitely me. I listen to podcasts, watch shows, and read books all the time. I feel like I'm building this incredible library of vocabulary and grammar in my mind.
Exactly. But here's the thing. Speaking isn't a passive skill. It's an active one. Knowing all the English words in the world doesn't mean you can speak fluently. Just like knowing every single rule in basketball doesn't mean you can play like a pro. You could watch game tapes for years, memorize player stats, and understand every strategy. But the first time you step onto the court, your body won't have a clue what to do. Your muscles aren't trained. You'll be clumsy, slow, and totally uncoordinated.
That makes so much sense. Language is the exact same.
It is. Reading and listening build your knowledge, but speaking builds the physical skill. It involves real muscle memory in your tongue, your jaw, and your lips. It needs your brain to connect ideas to words in real time without hesitating. Just listening to more podcasts or reading more books won't magically make you a better speaker. That's like sitting in the stands and hoping you'll get better at playing the game. To get fluent, you have to get on the court. You have to switch from passive consumption to active production.
That is the exact frustration I was feeling. I was always thinking, I know the words, so why can't I say them? It's one of the most common walls intermediate learners hit, and man, can it feel discouraging.
But it's not a wall you can't break through. You just need the right tool. And this is where we started, Jessica. I remember listening to your problem and I told you, your problem isn't that you don't know enough English. Your problem is that you haven't taught your mouth how to speak it.
And that really stuck with me. Then you introduced me to a technique called shadowing.
Shadowing is a simple but incredibly powerful exercise. As we discussed, you listen to a native speaker and repeat what they say in real time, just a split second behind them. Like an echo. You're not just repeating the words. You're mimicking everything. The pronunciation, the speed, the rhythm, and the intonation.
So why does this work so well?
Because shadowing is the bridge that connects your passive knowledge to your active speaking skills. First, it physically trains the muscles you use for speech. Your mouth and tongue learn to form English sounds. and move in ways that might be totally different from your native language. You're building the physical coordination you need for clear, fluent pronunciation.
And it also breaks that terrible habit of mentally translating everything, right?
Exactly. It forces your brain to process and produce English at the same time. When you translate in your head, you're doing double the work, which is why your speech ends up being slow and full of pauses. Shadowing trains your brain to think directly in English, which makes speaking feel more automatic and effortless. It turns your passive listening into an active workout for your fluency. It transforms you from a language spectator into a language speaker. And hey, if you're ready to start your own active workout, make sure you hit that subscribe button.
In our next video, we're going to share 3 specific types of podcasts that are absolutely perfect for shadowing, and we'll even give you links to free transcripts for every level.
All right, Jessica, let's walk everyone through the clear 5-step plan I gave you to get started with podcast shadowing. This is the exact plan you can start following today. Let's start with step 1.
Step 1 was choose your podcast, and you told me this part is key.
It is. You need to pick a podcast that actually matches your level. If it's too fast or the vocabulary is too complex, you're just going to get frustrated and quit. For lower intermediate learners, start with something made for learning, like Coffee Break English, Simple English News Daily, or 6-Minute English from the BBC. For upper intermediate learners, you can jump into podcasts about topics you genuinely find interesting. TED Talks, storytelling podcasts like This American Life, or anything about your hobbies are fantastic options. The goal is to pick something engaging, and whenever you can, find one that provides a transcript.
Okay, step 2. Listen first, the warm-up. Before I even tried to shadow, you had me just listen to a short 1 to 2-minute clip. The goal was just to understand the context, right?
That's it. You can't say what you don't understand. This isn't cheating, it's just smart prep. Now for step 3, shadow, the main workout. This is where you play that same segment again, and this time you speak along with the host, just a fraction of a second behind them. Jessica, what was the most important piece of advice I gave you here?
You told me, don't just say the words. Become the speaker. Copy the melody of their voice. If their voice goes up for a question, your voice goes up. If they stress a word, you stress that word. You said I wasn't just repeating words. I was mimicking the music of English. It felt really messy at first, but you said that was normal.
100% normal. The goal isn't perfection, it's practice. Next is step 4, record and review, the cool down. This step might feel a little weird, but this is where the magic happens. As you shadow, record yourself with your phone. Then, listen back and compare your recording to the original speaker. This is how you become your own coach.
And finally, step 5. Be consistent, the habit. This was huge for me. You said I didn't need to shadow for hours. Just 10 to 15 minutes of focused practice every single day is way more effective. I started doing it while washing dishes.
So, Jessica, tell everyone what happened when you followed that plan.
Well, that first day was tough. I could barely get a few words out before the speaker was 3 sentences ahead. I felt pretty silly, but I kept going. I chose a podcast about daily routines. One line I practiced over and over was, I grabbed my coffee and headed out. I must have shadowed that one simple line 10, 20, maybe 30 times, focusing on making it sound smooth and connected.
And then what happened?
A week later, a coworker asked me what I did that morning. Without thinking, without translating, the words just flowed out. Oh, I grabbed my coffee and headed out. It was effortless. It sounded natural. It was the first time speaking English actually felt automatic.
That one small victory was a massive turning point, wasn't it?
It was everything. It wasn't just about one sentence. It was proof that the system actually worked. With every day I practiced, my confidence grew. I started to feel the rhythm of English, not just in my ears, but in my voice. And the single biggest change was this: I stopped overthinking and just started talking. The door to my passive prison had finally been unlocked.
As you start your own shadowing journey, we want to help you avoid a few common mistakes that can really slow you down. Let's start with mistake 1. Shadowing with the text in front of you.
Oh, this is a huge one. I did this at first. I thought I was shadowing, but I was really shadow reading.
Exactly. When you read along while speaking, your brain focuses on the words on the page, not the sounds you're hearing. This tends to make your speech sound robotic. The rule is, listen first, then shadow with audio only. You can check the text afterward. Mistake 2 is focusing only on words, not the music. Many learners just repeat the words in a flat, monotone voice. This misses one of the biggest benefits. You have to try to copy the intonation, the stress, and the rhythm, the prosody. This is what will make you sound natural.
Then there's mistake 3, choosing material that's way too hard. I was so tempted to jump into a podcast made for native speakers, but I just got discouraged. Starting slow was key.
Fluency is a marathon, not a sprint. And finally, mistake 4, giving up too soon. Shadowing feels awkward at first. You will mess up. Embrace it. Every single fluent speaker was once a struggling learner. Consistency is so much more important than perfection.
My story isn't unique. It's the story of thousands of English learners who feel stuck in that passive prison, rich in knowledge but poor in skill.
And the secret isn't to learn more words. It's to activate the words you already have. Reading and listening build your library of English. But shadowing is the exercise that builds your ability to actually use it. It closes the gap between understanding and speaking by training your brain and your mouth to work together automatically.
So here is your challenge for today. Don't just be a passive listener to us. Be an active learner. Find a 1-minute audio clip from an English podcast. Listen to it once. Then, try shadowing it just one time. It doesn't have to be perfect. The goal is simply to start.
Drop a comment below and tell us which podcast you chose. Let's stop just reading English, and let's finally start speaking it.